From the brutal streets of Kenya to a life of hope and possibility, we're going to hear how children are being completely transformed and an ancient treaty that points the way to a more unified future. That's coming up right now.
Welcome to the program today, friends. We're so glad you've joined us. Cheryl, I got a question for you. Are you noticing that there are a few more aches and pains with each and every passing decade that we live?
What is that?
I mean, I don't want to complain, but aging is not for wimps.
We're feeling kind of wimpy just talking about it. Aren't we?
That's why we're sitting today, right?
Right.
Because to stand might not be so good.
It might not be so good.
Yeah.
And, you know, honestly, I think we're still pretty young. I'm sure some of you are going like, what are you complaining about? You don't know what it's like. But, you know, today we are celebrating all those who are getting a little bit older with grace and courage, even though it's not always easy, because today is National Senior Citizen Day. So I think if I have a senior in my life, which I do,
so do I.
We should reach out right now with a text or call to tell them how much, or maybe when the show's done, tell them how much you love them, tell them how thankful you are for them, tell them how awesome they are.
Yes.
We all need encouragement, and I think when you're facing like some of your human frailty, even more.
I kind of had to chuckle knowing that today is National Seniors Day, and I'm turning another year older in a couple of days. Not quite to the senior benchmark, but I'm getting there. Trust me, I'm getting there.
Goes fast.
Yes, and make sure you watch the program, as Cheryl said. Before you text that little encouragement to make the difference in someone that you love, a senior in your life, you might get a little gem of hope that you can encourage them with today. This day was established by the former President Ronald Reagan, and he wanted us to appreciate seniors and include them in society a lot more and to honor them.
I think that's wonderful.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think other cultures do it way better than our Western culture, and I admire that so much. And you know what amazes me, Mark? It wasn't that long ago, the early 1900s, life expectancy was only 31 years old. Now, I know for like a 20-year-old, the 1900s sound like a million years ago, but that was 125 years ago.
Not that long.
So now, thanks to advancements in medical science, we live in general, like the average of the world is 73 years. So, what country do you think has the best life expectancy? Canada?
I want to say somewhere in Asia, I'm going to say. Like maybe, I don't know, Japan?
Okay, that's a very good guess, because you know there's blue zones there.
Yeah.
But it's Monaco, actually, 86.5 years.
I could live to be 87 in Monaco, no problem.
I think maybe we need to move.
I think we do.
Yeah, but you know, honestly, Mark, in many of the places I travel to, like Crossroads Cares, people could only dream of living that long. Like, life expectancy is surprisingly low. I think you'd be shocked if you researched it. It's a lack of medical care. It's, you know, the poverty. It's drinking dirty water. It's, you know, it's all those kinds of things and diseases that are untreated. But the good news is we are changing that, and I have a bit of an update coming up for you that you're going to love a little bit later.
I love the work that we do around the world with Crossroads Cares, Cheryl, and you're so much part of leading that. And so much of it is about restoring dignity. It's not just the physical needs, but restoring dignity. And when I think of seniors in Canadian culture, I think we need to create more of a culture of respect and honor, as many of the nations around the world do. You know, recognizing that seniors have so much lived wisdom. I think we undervalue that lived wisdom.
100%.
I mean, we think it's about book smarts. No, it's about lived experience and wisdom and knowledge that we can all draw on.
I love doing that. I love being around seniors. All my grandparents are long gone, and it's a gift. I think that all of you who are in those senior ages, you are a gift, and I hope you hear that. You know, and I think, too, like, as we get older, life can get a little bit more challenging sometimes because of that physical frailty. We might need a little more help. And, you know, I think they were there for us when we were young. Many of our grandparents are the senior people in our lives. So it's time for us to step up with a little love and help. So I hope you take our advice. I hope you reach out to somebody, even get them some groceries, send them some flowers, something.
Do it. And speaking of respect, there's an ancient treaty in this nation that many of us may not know about. It's the Two-Row Wampum Agreement, made by some of the first settlers who came here and interacted with Indigenous peoples. And author and speaker Barry Maracle has more on that.
Goa. My name is Barry Maracle, and I'm sitting here on traditional Mohawk land, the Haudenosaunee, the people of the Flint, the people of the Longhouse. I love that everything that we do today reflects 7 generations. So we're always thinking of the future. We're thinking of ways that we can take care of the land, take care of our legacy, and be here for a long time and enjoy the earth. My grandfather's first language was Mohawk. He grew up on the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. His mom was from Six Nations up by Brantford. He couldn't read or write till he was 21, and when he went to Bible college. When he gave his heart to the Lord, he pulled out his gun, put it on the altar, his whiskey flask, his deck of cards, but embraced his heritage. He loved the great law. He loved the Haudenosaunee, the people of the Longhouse, our people. He loved our traditions. But he said to me one day, he says, our traditions were wonderful, but it didn't take me all the way in. I needed Jesus Christ. I needed Jesus Christos, Jesus, our Creator. My mom left when I was 3. My parents were divorced. I grew up as a not very native-looking native on a territory where reverse discrimination happened, and the worst thing you could be called is a white man. But yet, I've never been defined by my past. The term bury the hatchet comes from the Iroquois, because we buried all of our weapons underneath the great tree of peace on the Onondaga territory, the place of the central fire. And so what I have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a covenant. It's the oldest covenant in the land. It's called the Goshwenta, the Turo Wampum. In 1613, the Dutch government, one of the first European governments to come here, and made a covenant together that we would do life together as friends and brothers. And the Iroquois Confederacy, the Mohawk, the Onondaga, the Cayuga, the Seneca, and the Oneida. This purple is representing the rivers of life. And so we are to flow down these rivers of life together, us in our canoe and you in your boat. These 3 rows of white beads looks like it separates from the purple beads. Incidentally, our Iroquois colors are white and purple. So, but what they are is what binds us together. There's a diversity, but there's also a unity. And we beaded this belt together, that is supposed to last as long as the sun is shining, the wind is blowing, and the grass grows green. Many people don't understand the depth of our covenant, of our land, and what makes up the fabric of our nation is more than just what is sitting on Algonquin land in Ottawa called the Parliament Buildings. Did everything pan out as brothers? No. There's greed, there's avarice. Then the French came and we went into a 100-year French war. There was differences, yeah, but for the first while, it was actually wonderful. We taught people how to live off the land. When I share this with people, they're full of wonder. And they say, I had no idea. We need to get back to this. We cannot have unilateral decisions made without proper representation at the table. We have a lot of things to be grateful in our nation. We know that the foreigners, we didn't reject them. We welcome them. And we know that God has a reason why the foreigners came to North America, because he has a dream. Turtle Island will be a place like a city of refuge that you would read about in the Old Testament, where people could go and get healed, get restored. My people have a calling, an election, a purpose as a gatekeeper in this nation. What has been prophesied for decades and generations, that we would be the healing to the world. Not looking for a handout, not looking for a hand up, but we need to take our place and begin to be the answer and the solution. We come together with truth and integrity. We come together with honesty, and we go forward.
Just love that piece, Cheryl. And talking about 7-generation thinking, my goodness, how much do we miss the mark when we don't think of ramifications that far down the road? Now, of course, we're supposed to live for today, but also understanding the decisions we make today affect the future of our family and generations to come. And I just love how they taught foreigners to live off the land. I mean, it was a beautiful way of sort of introducing settlers to this part of the world, Turtle Island, which is all of North America, by the way. Just a little piece of information for you. those watching at home. And it's just an example of a beautiful beginning to our relationship, and how we just hope and pray that there would be this return of refuge, this sense of refuge on Turtle Island for the world and a place to be healed. That's why we've got prayer lines available for you. We want to be part of that healing journey for so many of you. Call the number on the bottom of your screen, 1-866-273-4444. We would love to pray with you. Wherever you find yourself in life, whatever it is whatever you find challenging you in this moment, we want to pray with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've been visiting with Lee Strobel all this month, talking about the supernatural. And, part of that is near-death experiences. People talk about seeing something after death. And one of the challenges many people of faith have is, how much credibility do we give to these experiences? Well, you're going to love this, because Lee Strobel, who is a former investigative journalist, has researched this deeply. Here's what he found.
Hi, I'm Lee Strobel, and I used to be skeptical about near-death experiences until I researched them for my new book, Seeing the Supernatural. And I found that there are roughly 900 scholarly studies of near-death experiences published in scientific and medical journals over the last 40 years. Researchers have found that there is no alternative explanations that can fully explain them away. In fact, there are many powerful cases where there's corroboration. In other words, people are clinically dead, and yet their spirit lives on, and they see or hear things they otherwise would be incapable of seeing or hearing. For example, a 7-year-old girl named Katie was found floating face down in a YMCA swimming pool. She had no measurable brainwaves activity. She had no heartbeat. She was hooked up to an artificial lung to keep her breathing. But somehow, she made a miraculous recovery after just 3 days. And she astounded doctors by saying she'd been conscious the whole time and had actually met Jesus and the Heavenly Father. In fact, she said at one point her spirit separated from her body, and she followed her family home one night after they visited her. She was able to give specific details about what she observed, including what her father was reading, how her brother was pushing a toy soldier in a Jeep, how her mother was cooking a meal of chicken and rice. She even knew what clothing each family member was wearing on that night, and everything checked out. The pediatrician who resuscitated her, Dr. Melvin Morse, published her case in the American Journal of Diseases of Children. And then he gathered 8 researchers to conduct a study of children's near-death experiences at Seattle Children's Hospital. His conclusion, quote, "After looking at all the other explanations for near-death experiences, I think the simplest explanation is that NDEs are actually glimpses into the world beyond." And here's the kicker. A Christian researcher named John Burke studied 1,500 NDEs and concluded that if you set aside how people interpret them and you just look at what actually occurs in a typical near-death experience, it's consistent with the teachings of the Bible. To me, the implications are clear. Near-death experiences prove that we have a spirit or soul or consciousness that survives our physical death, just as the Bible describes.
In a world fascinated by the paranormal, where spiritual curiosity runs deep, what if the supernatural is real and the Bible has already revealed it? This month is our thanks for your ministry support of Crossroads in 100 Huntley Street. We're excited to offer the book Seeing the Supernatural by New York Times bestselling author Lee Strobel.
My hope is that this will be a bridge into the curiosity about the paranormal, to open their eyes to the true spiritual realm, which is the one that the Bible describes.
From medically documented miracles to chilling encounters with real spiritual darkness to near-death experiences that echo the promises of Scripture, Seeing the Supernatural isn't just a book, it's a wake-up call. With a gift of $40 or more, or when you become a new monthly partner, request your copy. Call 1-800-265-3100 or visit crossroads.ca/supernatural.
Former legal editor to the Chicago Tribune, Lee Strobel is an award-winning author, and we're so thankful that we have this book to make available to you for a ministry gift of $40 or more this month. A great conversation starter. I have to say, there is a great fascination, Cheryl, with the supernatural and the paranormal, and it's important for us as Christians to understand it. And there's so many elements, whether it's angels, demons, we're talking mystical dreams, near-death encounters, and other mysteries of the unseen world. Very, very important to get a grasp on this, and he comes at it from a very methodical, well thought out and investigated standpoint. So we would like to send this to you, 1-800-265-3100 or crossroads.ca/supernatural to request your copy.
I think this is a great topic to dive into. You know, a lot of people enter the supernatural with no guardrails. The Bible puts up guardrails. And so for knowing like what you should do, what you shouldn't do, you need to get a copy of this book. So I hope you do. We're going to be back in just a moment with an update on a project that Crossroads Cares does in Kenya.
For in this hope we were saved. We know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. If God is for us, who can be against us? Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? For I am sure that neither death nor life, nor angels nor rulers, nor things present nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
These are our heroes of hope, Prayer Line volunteers. We honor their compassionate service. Every day, 1,300 people reach out for prayer.
We're just delighted, grateful that you are here today with us in person. And we want to celebrate you and honor you as our precious volunteer prayer partners.
Our heroes of hope answer with kindness, bringing God's love and comfort.
Everyone deserves someone to go to God in prayer with. Thank you for being that person. To the thousands that call every single day.
Together, they've devoted over 1 million hours to prayer ministry, changing lives and even generations.
Your prayers are like incense, every one of them.
You know, it's all about reaching out to others.
This fall, grow your leadership at the Global Leadership Summit, a powerful simulcast event hosted in the Crossroads Studios in Burlington. You'll hear from world-class speakers who will challenge and inspire you with practical tools for real-world leadership in business, ministry, education, and everyday life. Gather with like-minded leaders, connect, reflect, and lead with renewed clarity and courage. Early bird pricing is on now. Bring your team. Register today at crossroads.ca/events.
Where people were dying.
Recently, I lost a child that got an infection from that water. Unfortunately, he passed on.
They really are devastated in terms of what happens to them.
It's a lot of heartbreak. It's a lot of exhaustion from people. Thank you on behalf of the people who are going through incredible suffering during this time.
Please, help us.
I'm so excited I decided to carry this child and come and witness. See with my own eyes if really we are going to have safe water.
We have stories to tell that'll help others understand us. Crossroads is able to help with that.
When you give, you are giving life.
It is so significant. It really is a matter of life and death, and you are making the difference.
Welcome to Mully Children's Family, the largest family in the world.
Aww.
Dr. Charles Mully is showing us around his home. This is just one of 5 campuses that has opened its doors to thousands of children of Kenya who have ended up on the street. It is quite literally an oasis in the desert, filled with lush trees that have roots deep in faith. Something you notice right away when you walk through the gates, there are 73 verses and quotes that line the walls, including from Dr. Mully.
You can never achieve sustainable and holistic transformation of lives of the vulnerable people in society through handouts, but transforming their minds through awareness and the capacity building.
Education is the cornerstone of the vision he says God gave him decades ago. And it's why so much of the work here is focused on giving children the skills they need, helping them find what they're good at, and giving them space and practice to grow and find time to heal.
By the time they're 8, 10 years old, it's as though they've lived a life of a 50-year-old. They've gone through too many things that a child should never go through. You know, you're talking about being abused, being sodomized, girls being sold even by their own parents just to be able to get money for food or for clothing or for shelter. We're talking about children going to the dustbins to eat rotten food from the streets. So, you know, not being able to access medical care, being treated in very inhumane way by people on the streets. When they come here, most of them, you know, having gone through everything that they have gone through, they are not open.
Carissa was only 6 when he was rescued from the streets, where he was forced to sell alcohol.
After the death of my late father, my mother had to sell the local brew, which was illegal to the community, but she had to sell it secretly, even going to the extent of selling bang and giving it to me specifically, giving it to people or selling it so that we may have the daily bread. So that was very difficult for us.
He and his siblings were sent to live at MCF, where he found a new family.
We are so many of us, but we have the umbrella of Dr. Charles Mully Daddy that has covered us. Now, because of the love that he has accorded us and the spiritual cover and nourishment, and now we are able to move forward.
Carissa says education was a big part of that transformation and hard work. He's earned a scholarship to study in Germany.
I am no longer violent as I used to be. I am no longer having that hatred, because I used to hate myself. I thought that with me I am done, and I was like, I think that I could not make it in life, but now Jesus in me has changed everything. So I'm having a new look of things, and I have also adopted the love of Christ, because the word says Jesus loved us, and therefore I give that love to people, because you love people, you love God.
It's hard to believe children so young could have gone through so much. But every day, children find refuge and healing at the Mully Children's Family.
When I see a child in the street, always I see a great future.
Can you show me? Show me.
And that starts in the classroom.
Multiplication. What is 3 times 3?
3 times me, 6. 9.
9. Yes, you got it.
There's a lot of multiplication at MCF. Over the years, they've expanded, offering everything from preschool to higher education. From the lab to vocation training, the sky is the limit. But the budget is not. Years of drought have limited the crops they can sell, which funds half the work they do.
Currently, we have 6,200 children within Mully Children's Family homes projects. Why? Because the number has increased very rapidly, even in the last few months. We had 5,500 children that we are taking care of. But with the situation that is going on with the drought, you have more children running into the streets, more children in need of care. You have more children coming in to our projects for rescue. So our number has gone up to 6,200 children.
That's a lot of mouths to feed and minds to educate.
Ningependa tuone kama kuna mbinu nyingine ambayo mwandishi ametumia.
You never know what a day is going to bring here in Kenya. I'm at the Mully Children's Family, and I am in Swahili class. I am learning Swahili. Well, okay, maybe a little Swahili. I learned the word asante, which is really important to us as Canadians because we're so polite. That is thank you. But the rest of the language, I'm going to need a little help. Is anyone going to be able to help me with my Swahili? Not too sure. Okay, well, I may not get their help, but I need your help. Swahili may not be in my future, but you know what we need help with is making sure kids like these have a bright future and an education. So many of them come from heartbreak and hardship, but coming here to Mully Children's Family, over 5,500 kids are having a fresh start at life. Education is the thing that breaks the cycle of poverty and gives them a chance at a bright future. So would you help us do that? That is our joy. We would love for you to join us. Give us a call, 1-800-265-3100. You can also give online at crossroads.ca. And we all just want to say, Asante.
Cheryl, I've heard you talk about conversations you've had with Charles Mully about what he sees in those children when he finds them in the streets. And you were thinking, you'd say, oh, someone that God loves, or someone that God has a plan. But he says, I see potential in them.
Yeah.
I mean, what a beautiful, forward-thinking, full of vision kind of man that he is for these young kids that otherwise don't have much of a future.
Yeah, I just love that about him, his vision. And it's so interesting because when you hear the stories of these kids and what they've been through, it's crazy. Eating rotten food and trafficked by their own parents and, assaulted in different ways on the street, betrayed by the people who should protect them. But you never know it when you meet these kids after they've been with the Mully Children's Family. One of the things that Charles Mully does is he trains them to tell their story well. Because he believes he's training the future leaders of tomorrow of Kenya. So when he says he sees potential in those kids, he actually means he sees it right then when they're broken, and their behaviors are usually terrible. If you're living on the street, imagine the kind of survivor behaviors that you have. But he sees something incredible in them. And I just, when he said that, I'm thinking totally he's going to say something else. And I was like, wow, you really have the vision. You know it's going to take a process, but you also know where that process is going to end up.
Now, you're going to be heading there soon, aren't you, Cheryl?
I am.
In just a few short weeks.
Just a few short weeks. I'm really excited. I always love going to spend time with the Mully family. They're all so inspiring. But this trip in particular, we're going to one of their campuses in Kenya we've never been to before. And this campus is specifically focused on little girls that have been forced into child marriage, that have been prostituted or trafficked by their parents, just the worst situations that you can imagine. This is a place for them to recover. So I kind of look at it on one hand, I'm so passionate about this cause because I've seen over the years what God can do with a life. And with a life that is so broken, that has gone through things that we can't even imagine as parents, as grandparents, as brothers and sisters, but healing is possible. So I'm really excited about telling these stories, but I also think it's going to be a tough trip.
We're talking, you could be encountering some teenage moms, young girls with children as a result of rape.
Yes. Last time I was with Mully, I was with a little girl who had just turned 13 who'd given birth because of rape.
Yeah, so we're bringing this before you folks because we need your help. We need you to give to the ministry of Crossroads Cares that's out being the hands and the feet of Jesus around the world in so many countries and so many different projects. And the Mully Children's Foundation is one that's very near and dear to us here. We've had a wonderful relationship with them over the year, being one of our partners on the ground in Kenya. So would you please pick up the phone and call 1-800-265-3100. Or you can give securely online. You can go to crossroads.ca/cares and make your donation towards what God is doing through Crossroads Cares in Kenya and Ukraine, other parts of the world. We so value and thank you for your support.
Yes, and know that lives are being changed. I'm there in person. I talk to these people. I see these stories. And I can tell you right now, you are changing the world. Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a supporter-funded nonprofit organization and member of the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. Thanks to faithful people like you, we are able to continue producing 100 Huntley Street. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R4M2, or visit crossroads.ca to learn more about our programs.